Welcome, students. Today we are going to do Unit 2, New Social Movements, and the module name is Women's Movement. Myself, Sanskriti Iyer, Assistant Professor, Government College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Kepe. The outline of this topic is to introduce women's movement as new social movement and also to understand the women's movement. Learning outcomes, the students will be able to understand the women's movement as new social movements and also to describe the women's movement as whole. So when we are introducing this women's movement, we should be understanding that it is more about women's liberation movement and it is a political alignment of women and feminist intellectualism that emerged in late 1960s. So it is a part of the new social movements. It continued, this particular movement for women liberation, it continued in 1980s, primarily in the industrialized nations of the Western world. So we have to get one thing in mind, students, when we are talking about the industrialized nations, it also means the developed nations or almost the developing nations whereby education, politics is a bit mature. So which affected great change, that is the political change also, intellectual change also, and the cultural throughout the world. So basically the women's liberation movement, okay, if we see to the development of this movement, it proposed socio-economic change. So what kind of socio-economic change? The changes whereby there is equal representation, there is equal presence of women in terms of socio-economic arena. So they rejected the idea that there is a piecemeal equality. So basically, when it comes to the democracy and the democratic nations, which speaks about equality, so they first of all rejected the idea of piecemeal equality, saying that there is equality, whereby the women should be confined to a particular sphere of the society, that is the personal sphere, and the man should be belonging to the social, the outer sphere, and this guarantees equality. So they rejected it. So it fostered the tenets of humanism. So now it is not only about the women's right, but it is also about the human's right. I shall come to that point how it is about humanism. It is especially the respect for human rights of all people. So the women's liberation movement, it is speaking about, for the human rights of all the people after the intense period of fighting for women's suffrage. Okay, this was the second wave of feminism. There was a large movement to educate the women voters worldwide. So, enlightening the women voters was very, very important. And at the end of the World War II, that asserts the drive of women's enfranchisement. So, the fight was for economic freedom. So, now the political freedom was already there, and the women were also asking for the economic freedom, not asking, it was their right, which they asserted. So, when we are talking further about the development, so the women demanded for the freedom for women to divorce. So earlier it was like, they had to be only the man who could initiate the divorce process, or even for the adoption purpose, the man was important. The women also spoke about the issue of contraception and the marital rape, which was the highlighted issue, and it is a highlighted issue. They questioned about the unequal distribution of domestic work, which is even today a big question. The slogans when it comes to their economic rights, such as the workers of the world unite, they turned into that. Now this is the radical women, radical feminist who actually took the movement to another level. That is, they spoke about women of the world unite, and the key features like consciousness raising and egalitarian consciousness based policies were their demand. So the movement, it spread worldwide post 1960s. So when we are talking about this, the spread of movement post 1960s, the first public indication that changed was, with the women's reaction to the 1963 publication of Betty Friedan, The Feminine Mistake, whereby the personal is political. That's what the slogan that was given. By June 1966, the women had concluded that polite requests were insufficient for equal economic rights. So they said that making polite requests, making requests through different petitions, legislations are not going to work, whereby we definitely have to protest, we have to be more radical. Hence, the National Organization for Women, which is called as NOW, was born, and this was late in 1966. So, what did the NOW demand for? That is National Organization for Women, and this happened in US. What did it demand for? It demanded for enforcement of laws banning employment discrimination. So, what kind of employment discrimination was happening? First of all, women were not elevated to the promotions, seeing to it that the factor that they might go for the maternity leave. No maternity benefits were given. They were terminated from their job. They were paid less, and for the same work as a man. Then they also demanded for the maternity leave rights. They also demanded for the childcare centers that could enable mothers to work. They also spoke about the tax deduction for childcare expenses. They also spoke about the equal and unsegregated education, because education was not equal. Certain professions were only, and this was the societal construct, the gender discrimination norm, that teaching, nursing should only go for the women, and there are certain that the masculine job profiles that should only go for the men. So, equal job training opportunities for poor women. So, this was also the demand. With NOW's legislative and radical efforts, women's movement was spread everywhere. And the demands for equal rights, whether it is social, cultural, or economic, was asked by every woman which was enlightened. So when we are talking about this women's movement, and then what is the end result? So let me tell you what happened. As in now, the movement was spreading. The activism became fragmented and fraught with dissension, because the women, all the women of the world were not equally represented. Whether it is the black women or the lesbian women, so their rights were not represented. And then when it comes to different developing countries, developed countries, and the poor countries, even there was a problem. They debated the validity of women's studies as an academic major. So, with time, what happened in the universities, this women's movement was not limited only to the economic rights, but the studying about women, the women's issues, the women's politics, the women's psychology, sociology. So, all these issues, when it comes to women's studies, it was decided. It was the demand was there, how we can make it as a major academic subject. The role of women in the armed forces became a point of contention. Now, here there was a difference of opinion, whether some said that the standard of equality should be there, so the women should be included in the armed forces, while there were others who protested that mothers in the military should not be sent for a war. So basically, movement turned conservative by 1990. So it was very much conservative, because when it comes to the nations that ran on the theocracy, uh, there was strict conservative practices that were followed, and there was again a question on the women's choices. So feminists were further targeted as primary culprits behind many byproducts of sexual revolution. For example, women were actually blamed in the name of childcare, that they are rejecting, or they are neglecting, they are giving away their the basic duty of taking care of the child and all. So it was also for the increased rate of teen pregnancies and to the spread of AIDS. So the concept of freedom, which was taken to another side, always we have some negative side of it, for which the radical feminists were blamed too. So here are the references. Thank you.